Live from Break Free Worldwide headquarters in Houston, Texas. With your host, Jeremy. And B-Boy Moy. And joining us tonight,
yo, what's up, world? Welcome to episode number 25 of Break Free Worldwide Podcast.
25.
25. Keep it live. My name is Jeremy.
My name is Moy.
Yes, sir. And we got a good one today. There's a lot of muscle.
A lot of muscle in the building.
Yes. A lot of muscle in the building. Yeah,
brain muscle and
actual
muscle.
And muscle.
So one of these guys has muscles in places I don't have places.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Me too. So this will be a good, very informative. I think the goal of this podcast is to just one of the guests. It's one of those dual guest episodes. We got two guests, 2 for 1 special.
The cool part about it is that we actually had one of the guests on before, and we thought that it'd be cool to bring him back.
A lot of views on his episode.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't get as many views on this one, he's never coming back again.
Yeah. Or we'll just take out the other guy and replace him with somebody else.
So without further ado, everyone make some noise for Eric Lee, Salazar, and Rob Trevino. What's up, fellas?
What up?
What's going down? Welcome back, Eric.
What up?
What's up, Rob? How y'all feeling today?
What's good?
Y'all feeling good?
Really good. Feel great.
Yeah, thanks for showing up on time, guys.
Yeah, we had to extend our podcast because you guys were late.
Yeah. Apparently,
can you explain that real quick?
Apparently, fitness and health has nothing to do with being on time.
Punctual? Are you kidding me? No way. I'm good at everything.
Yeah, there was
Is there a reason? What's your reason for being late, Eric?
getting someone to
Was getting that tank top on?
Yeah.
Struggle to get that tank top on the way over?
Someone covering the shift.
That's good. That's good.
You coming straight from Flex?
Yes.
Dope, man.
Yeah, I was working all day.
Yeah, your first episode that you
Wait,
did
what is Flex?
Flex Level Fitness. I'm
Okay.
assuming everyone watched
people are watching, they don't know.
I'm assuming everyone watched the episode. If you didn't, you should subscribe.
Flex. Show them what Flex is.
Yeah, what's Flex?
Oh.
Flex is the
if you
gym
can
I work
describe
at.
your muscle in a sound for the people who watch, what's your muscle in the sound? What's your physique in the sound?
Kapaya.
Sounds like a Jamaican fruit.
Yeah. A little
Kapaya.
kapaya. Yeah. When I go to the islands, it's
Yeah, but your first
obviously some
episode you did
kapaya.
with us was really dope, informative. There was a lot. I think you could still go back to the episode and watch it all the way through and still learn something new every time. Like multiple times.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, when I jump on a treadmill, sometimes I go back and watch some of them just because I think there's a lot of good stuff said throughout all of them. That's a plug, but that's real talk.
It was so good, and to be serious, on a serious note, we wanted to bring you back on, and then we thought Rob was a perfect addition too because Rob is a good friend of ours and a good friend of yours, and a member at Flex Level and a trainer as well. And Rob's been on a journey fitness wise for a long time now. Like, when did you start getting into fitness, Rob? Like, I can't recall the year.
Okay, so I would say that I've always been active, played sports.
Of course, yeah.
But not really got into any kind of.
You used to hoop them boys up on the court.
Used to.
Like, oh, you still do?
No, I don't play as much, but I will play.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, you fools out there.
But so when I was about 35, around 40, I decided to really, I gained some weight. And I've always been kind of really, well, I don't want to say lean because I wasn't lean. I didn't have any muscle.
Cuddly Rob.
I was Cuddly Rob.
Yeah.
I became cuddly.
Yeah.
And you actually often refer back.
Damn,
to
we should have got some cuddly.
picture.
We should got some Cuddly Rob pictures.
Oh, I didn't.
Actually,
They're on my Instagram.
do you have one on there right now? You can text it to me. We'll shoot it over to production,
do the story,
and
do the
MVP
story.
will put it up.
Do your
immediately.
do your story first, and then we'll.
Okay,
we'll
so it was probably 12, 13 years ago. I put on some weight. Well, over time I put on weight in my 30s.
Let me see if I can find this. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I decided I wanted to start losing weight. And so I started running. I started running every day. And I took off a lot of weight. I didn't know it was what I was doing other than, I was always told, go run, go do a bunch of cardio, and you'll lose weight. And that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
I did. but I also I didn't lose. What I learned since then is, of course, I didn't lose a lot of fat. I lost fat, but I also lost a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And so I was very skinny, but people would say, "Hey, are you okay? Like, you look sick."
What was your highest weight, and then like what was it?
I was 205, which is not a lot, but I was 205, which was a lot for me. My college weight was around 160, 165, and throughout time, I would, like in my 20s, I was like 170-ish, and then in my 30s, it jumped up to like 200, 205. Very unhappy.
I was 205 at my height then.
Really?
So,
Yeah, that was.
So that's when I started losing, and again started running, and then I had a freak accident with my knee, and I couldn't run anymore, and so I figured I need to start doing something else. So I started lifting weights and going to the gym and lifting, and kind of on my own program, what I've seen and what I'd learned online, or just old school type of training, and it worked, but at some point I plateaued. And I felt good about myself, and I felt like I lost the weight and gained a few pounds back after the accident and so forth. But it's funny that you say this, or that we're here today, because today is my 4-year anniversary doing macros. Like, I met Eric 4 years ago yesterday.
Crazy coincidence.
Oh yeah,
April
that's right.
1st. So it's weird that we're meeting today. But anyway, on April 2nd is when I started doing macros. And prior to that, I was doing like a really high carb, high protein, high fat diet.
Yeah. Which you
low
put
carbs.
us on as
Right,
well.
we were all on at the
paleo?
same time. Pretty
Paleo?
Yeah.
Paleo, and then before that, I done Atkins. And so
I remember
forth.
that. Yeah.
I thought you were CrossFit when I met you.
I wasn't CrossFit, but we would do stuff.
We would do CrossFit.
We would do
we
HIIT
were like
training.
more.
CrossFit.
That's what our training was geared more towards.
Hit training.
Hit training.
HIIT training. And so
Yeah.
that's funny that you mentioned that, because the first time we went for a run, like, I smoked you. Like, really, really like bad. So as far as that's
I didn't know
going,
that.
You guys could race right here if you guys
I
want.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember. Like, I was like, this guy can't run.
Oh, trust me, Rob will remember it. He's very competitive.
Yeah, straight
We
up.
almost
Not
fought
at all. Not at all competitive.
playing basketball.
It was an observation. Anyway, I made the observation, and that's when I got with Eric, and I learned a whole new world of fitness and training and so forth.
Yeah, you're mentioning macros, and I know last time we were on with Eric, you talked about what macros are, but if you can briefly, one more time, talk about macros for anybody that's watching or listening that may not know what that is.
Essentially, macros is just short for macronutrients. Macronutrients being since first day in 1920s when they first put a label on a can of green beans, it came with calories, and the macronutrients that create the calories are protein, carbs, and fats. So protein, carbs, and fats.
So it's a combination of those three.
Yes, those three.
Those are your macros.
Those are what we call macros. We call them macros for short, but they stand for macronutrients.
Cool.
So what about can you put the like philosophy or approach behind the macro dieting, flexible dieting? Can you condense that, and like what's the goal of it, or what's the philosophy, the outlook of it for people that don't know out there?
Well, flexible dieting is more so. It's being able to be adaptive and flexible within any given moment. Okay, so and I had touched briefly on this last time, but whenever it comes to like what I consider like mixed martial arts. Okay, long time ago, Bruce Lee. A lot of people say that he was a creator of mixed martial arts. He was under the philosophy of, hey, you can't be married to one type of style of fighting. Okay. At any given moment in the real world, with the real world application, if you're out there and you're in a street fight, you have to be able to adapt to what's working at that moment. Okay, if you're boxing and they take you down to the ground, then you need to know how to start wrestling or kickboxing, takedowns, things like that. So it's being adaptive to your surroundings at any given moment. So with all these labels, just like in fighting, there's labels of karate, judo, jeet kune do. In dieting, there's paleo, carnivore, keto, Weight Watchers, vegan. Yeah. So they have so many different styles, and this one's saying like, hey, you know what? Even if you really enjoy one of 15, off the top of my head, 15 different diets, that you enjoy, that's keeping you adherent. If you like any one of those particular, you can also venture out and be flexible. You know, if you're on the road, you can simply stop by at a gas station and you'll have the understanding of how to fit within your caloric budget. Okay, so this is being flexible. If you're out having a date night with your spouse and you want to go to a different restaurant and still be still keep things within your caloric budget, then you'll know how to adapt to that too. So that's what the term of flexible dieting is just being flexible.
Seems funner.
Yeah, it is. It is. It has. So far, it has better adherence with people in their dieting. Okay, it doesn't restrict them to a certain type and style. So where they say, well, I can't do carbs or I can't do fat.
Yeah. And so how do you feel, or how do you guys feel about those people that say, oh, well, that, you know, too much carbs is bad or too much fat is bad? Like, what do you guys feel about that? Because I know when I first started getting into like fitness or that lifestyle or the healthy lifestyle, right? Everybody was like, you got to eat clean. You have to eat this. You have to eat that. Oh, that's way too much sugar, you know, or that's processed sugar. You know, you guys heard the drill. You guys know the deal, right? So, like, what are your take? You know, what's your thoughts and what's your take on it? You know.
Well, mine in particular is, you know, in the research when they got flexible dieting or being flexible. On the polar opposite, they have being rigid. Okay, rigid dieting is going to go alongside with just having rigid lifestyle. Okay, being too black and white. So in the research, it shows that people who have more of a rigid lifestyle whenever it comes to things that they do, whenever they're just all too extreme or too all in, restrict themselves too much from certain different things, their success rate is very low. So they have a lower success rate. So when somebody says, so I keep that in mind when somebody says like, oh no, you know, I try to keep carbs out, you know, carbs are the devil, or I just do no fats, and I try to also tell everyone no fats. And also, and not that's just for the average person, but when you start going to gyms where they start preaching one style, you never want to go to a gym that preaches one style on how they have everybody lose weight. Okay, that kind of gym you need to run from. Okay, because it's a one size fits all with them. Okay, at our gym we have so many different ways of dieting successfly, or at best successfully as we can with an individual. But I mean, we can argue with those people if we want. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you say if you're at a bar, or if somebody's just like, hey, I see you eating all that fats, or I don't know.
Yeah. Generally, I'll say that it doesn't really matter. Like I'll say, well, first of all, I'll assess whether it's a conversation I want to get into, because a lot of times you will be able to say, or you'll be able to begin and know right away they're not going to listen. They're not going to. It's their style, and I'll just leave it at that. But if they ask me what I do, you know, or if they see that I don't know, that I'm wearing a shirt and they can see that I'm somewhat fit, I'm lean or whatever, and they say, well, what do you do? I said, well, I'm very flexible because I really want to be able to try different things sometimes, and I want to be flexible in the way that I eat, in the way that I do my cardio. However, I want to be able to have options.
Well, I know when you guys first introduced me to macros, like at first I would have to say it was a little bit annoying because you have to keep track and you have to stay organized. But once you like do it for a little bit, it's almost it's like very easy.
Second nature.
Yeah, it's second nature. But it's been the best thing ever because I get to eat whatever I want to eat. And I remember, first kind of diving into the fitness, healthy lifestyle road, and everyone was like, again, don't do this, don't do that. So you try to stick to, your meats and your greens or your not processed sugars and all this stuff. And now I'm enjoying Coke Zeros, eating pancakes in the morning, and there's different ways to do it, right? There's different syrups they sell that are zero calorie and things like that. So I still get to enjoy what I want to do. But what I was going to get to is this. I think it has been the best thing for me because, if I decide to binge or cheat, it's like you hop right back on and you're on schedule. And I'm not saying go out and do that, but it's very easy. Where it's where you're eating a piece of chicken breast, steamed rice, and broccoli, all week long, and then you have ice cream, that totally jacks everything up. But if you're kind of having this flexible diet and a well-balanced diet, and then you hop off a little bit, it's not so bad because you're already eating pretty flexible.
Yeah, I think we really try to promote having a guilt-free type environment, whereas we don't really use the word cheat a lot. I mean, you probably don't even say it much yourself.
Yeah, I don't.
We don't cheat because it's within our budget. It may be, and we do preach kind of a 75 or 80, a 75-25 or 80-20 rule where a lot of it we want it to be whole foods. Like that's important to have that. You need your micronutrients too.
Yeah.
But that 20%, 25% can be something that you really like you enjoy.
Yeah.
And with my clients, I always try to promote for them to have something that they really like within the day to help them to sustain them those kinds of cravings or things that they really
I know when I travel a lot and people are seeing me eat, they're like, they kind of like trip out, and they're like, oh, it's cheat day? And I'm like, no, this is every day.
That's every day.
I like to think about the diet as like a good metaphor for a lot of other things just in life in general. You were speaking on like how people prescribe the one thing, like rigid versus flexible. And I think a lot of things, and a good thing we can segue into next is like a lot of myths that people push, like myths that develop because people are pushing their agendas, or you talk about gyms that are trying to sell memberships and that's their number one priority, so they'll push one thing and they'll say this is the way, this is the answer. But as with everything in life, there's not one answer,
Exactly.
And as with everything in life too, like you can look at the problem, or it's not a problem, but look at the topic of weight loss and health as something that's very complex. But as with a lot of things in life that have complex, like that's a complex problem, most of the time there's simple answers to it. There's a way to simplify things, and the flexible dieting is simplifying things and saying this is what causes you to lose weight. This is what causes you to gain weight, and just focusing on that, and then from there you have the ability to create what is best for you and what helps you and what makes you feel
Well, there's
better.
also too, like when people say, you got to find out what works for you. But at the end of the day, everything really works.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, you hit a good point there. We say it's complex, but it's not that complicated. I mean, in terms of, being overweight or not being overweight, it's not complicated. It's not hard to lose weight. I think if people say I'm having the hardest time losing weight, well, that's actually part of the easy thing. Because I mean, like I said, I went and ran out, 3-4 miles a day for months, and I lost weight.
And to be specific, that simple answer is what? It's caloric intake versus.
That's exactly.
So that's the simple formula, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Energy output versus calories intake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like how you said that, Jeremy, because that's actually how that's kind of how I structure my entire life too, as well, is flexibility.
Yeah.
Hearing. Not having to always be an extreme of anything, and being able to be adaptive at any situation to anything. So I really enjoy how you say that, because that's exactly how I view and how I picked up a lot from just doing kind of a flexible dieting. And I'm pretty sure people in the even with the fighting in the MMA do the same thing, especially when they're and I really respect fighters a lot. And especially their philosophy, because the people in the mixed martial arts world, they're still getting flack from each individual style that they're having to learn as a whole, and each one of those communities is just like, no, ours is the best.
That probably happens in any world. It happens in our breaking world. It happens probably in the bodybuilding world.
Specialist versus generalist.
Yeah, exactly. So I really appreciate that kind of a philosophy, going on with just.
I want to ask. Go ahead.
In terms of what we were talking about, the macronutrients and people having different philosophies about carbs or fats and so forth, they're called macronutrients for a reason. Like macro meaning like big or important. And if we're taking out a whole food group for a diet, we're going to be missing some things.
Yeah.
And so over time, continuing to do that, your body's going to respond to that. And so that's another thing I'll say to somebody that is really high. I'm low fat. I've been low fat for this amount of time, or I'm low carb this amount of time. There's going to be issues with that because of the fact that you're taking out an entire food group. Yeah. And this allows us to continue having those. Maybe and what we find a lot, I don't know if you find that with your clients, but I find a lot of our clients, not once they get on macros, they realize how much fat they were taking in. They didn't realize that until
It's a
they started
self-awareness.
counting, and how little protein they were taking in.
Yeah.
That's usually what you'll see in most in the general population is they're not getting enough protein. they're getting too much
Especially in like clean eating diets. I mean, I feel like those
Yeah.
diets are really high in fat
Well, you know,
and less in protein.
Just like Rob was saying,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing as if someone financially actually just sat you down and said, "Hey, these are your finances,
Yeah.
and these are what you're actually spending money on. Let's actually look at everything that you're putting your money in,"
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh man, that's
I can't believe I'm spending that much.
I can't believe I'm spending all this
eating
money.
out.
That's where all my
Right.
money is going."
Yeah.
Okay, even with what they say, some of the Starbucks people.
Yeah.
I think they had like a survey maybe or a study where they were
No
just showing
idea
how
how
much
much
money
they
people were
spend.
actually spending.
That's wild.
Just every day and per month, per year, and it was
Yeah.
just insane.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what are, it could be very general or it could be yours, okay? So like, what are some of the biggest obstacles, whether you guys face or other people face, kind of diving into this fitness, healthy lifestyle journey? Because it seems like, every first of the year, people are motivated, they want to change their life, they make these New Year's resolutions, and they do this thing, and then all of a sudden February comes, and then they're out of it. Or something very extreme happens in their life, and they're like, okay, now it's time to get in shape, now it's time to do it, and then they get out of it. What is the biggest obstacle, whether it's physical or mental? And the reason why I asked that in two different questions, because I think that you can really attack maybe the physical. And Rob, for anybody that's watching or listening, Rob is a licensed psychologist and a professor. So maybe to hear your take from a psychological standpoint would be pretty cool. And then, or vice versa. Maybe Eric has
Mix it
his
up.
as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he
But
has some
I
feedback.
think that's something that a lot of people want to know, because a lot of people ask me about breaking, like how do you keep reinventing yourself, or how do you stay motivated after so many years, But for me, it's just like, if I could answer it, for me, it's just simply finding inspiration in the little things day after day. Not necessarily thinking 10 years down the road, but literally taking it one step at a time. Because if I mess up one day, the next day is a brand new day. And I know it sounds very cliche or corny, but it's just the absolute truth. I don't know any other way to put it. So that helps me get me past my, my mental hurdles, or whatever you want to call it.
I would probably say the restart, the way people like to restart. Maybe you can dig a little bit into that. But a lot of people, things are really hard. If this was easy, everyone would obviously be successful at weight loss. As we already know, it's easy for people to save up money in the very short term and then binge out and spend all of it, and they're always equal. They always end up back in the same spot. Same thing as dieting. People will lose weight all the time. That's not a hard thing to do. It's a simple, silly trick to me, to be honest, after all this time. Just seeing somebody lose weight off of any kind of plan, any kind of whatever you want to call it. But to actually look at the longevity of, okay, it's been 5 years now, have you been able to keep the weight loss off? So people jump into it with such high expectations, and I think it's over expectations. Maybe it's pushing too hard, and the fail drop is. Trying to think of what I'm trying to gather up and say.
I'll jump in a little bit. So I think whenever you have you ever had and also yourself time away from the gym?
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times getting back to that, and it could be a week,
Yeah.
it could be a few days, but
Yeah.
getting back to that is, you kind of have to build some momentum again.
Right.
So imagine somebody coming in that's either hasn't worked out in a long time or has never worked out. I think in the traditional trainer client situation, a lot of trainers will put them through the ringer,
Okay.
and maybe not have a, they'll do the kind of the cookie cutter
Okay.
type process where okay, we're going to do 20 push-ups, and we're going to do some get on the treadmill and run a little bit. We're going to do this. and it's almost like they put everybody through that. So I think when you personalize it, it makes it a little better. But I'll use the example of Eric and I. When I came to see Eric, the first time we worked out, I walked out of the gym, I was like, that's it. That's all we're going to do. And I think in some ways, I felt like I wasn't getting what I normally got from the gym.
Yeah.
But there was a process, right? It's a process. And so in that case, it was like I didn't feel like I worked out like I normally do, but there was a way that he was going to go about that.
Long game.
It was a long game. And it was also about assessing where I was, because it wasn't like that for long.
So you think that's part of the battle too, is that some people jump in and then they'll give it 2 or 3 months, and if they don't see what they like, they bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Results make a big difference.
that's exactly what I'm
you
talking
know,
about.
I'm thinking about your question in like so many multiple different ways. That's why it's hard for me to
Process.
say the exact way, because I'm first thinking of it like, okay, well, what do we do at my own gym that tries to help them more successful? Then I'm thinking about the regular average person that just goes into the public gym on their own, and where's their motivation coming from, and why do they have such a higher fail rate?
Which I have something I want to say about that as well.
Yeah,
So-
go ahead.
Well, another thing too is like I've also seen a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I go to the gym," but in my mind, like this dude does not look like he goes to the gym at all. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, that's one of those things too, where it's like, I know they say don't judge a book by its cover, but it's like when you're surrounded by people like you guys, you know what I mean, and you guys are constantly educating myself and people around us about how to do it and stay consistent, but still find a way to maintain the fun aspect of it, you know? Why isn't these guys who say they live in the gym but aren't following it, do you think that it's talk? Do you think it's diet? I mean, I don't know. I know it's kind of a random question, but there's a ton of those people, those everyday goers who go to the gym but do not look like gym goers.
I think that having a trainer, and it doesn't have to be us, but having a trainer does a couple of things. Paying a trainer does a couple of things.
Well, accountability.
Accountability is huge, because I think if a person goes in on their own, that's why you have those people going in January and they're leaving in February,
Yeah.
because they don't have anybody to be accountable to, and they get tired of their routine. But if you have a trainer, and it could be any trainer, that makes you accountable and at least just challenges you every time you come in and converses with you and has a conversation, and you can make workouts in a way where they're not as grueling as people would normally do on their own.
I also think, like, for me personally, is like I compare it to breaking. It's like I'll see a lot of people, if I go to an open session and I'll see a lot of people practicing, and then I've seen these guys practice for like now 4 or 5 years, and I haven't seen them get better. And it's like, are they really practicing, or are they just kind of just going through
Maintaining.
Yeah, or going through the moves.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people don't look at fitness this way. They don't look at it like that they have to practice and get better at what it is, you know, that they do. And the reason why I bring that up is because I remember when I first started with you, I would, you know, I bring this up a lot, but I remember you started me with the girls, and you were like, get this right, get your form down right. So you made me practice my form and develop my strength a little bit more in this world before I was able to play with the big boys or move on to this other world and, you know, move around some weight or whatever you want to call it, right? But I look at it breaking the same way. It's like I see everybody just come to the same place, but they're just kind of running through the moves, but they're not putting themselves through the right steps or the right regimen to get their form down, to get their technique down, to get some different moves or whatever to really advance and play with the big boys.
You know, when it comes to weight loss and fat loss, I think people have to start trying to wrap their head around, making it a lifestyle change in the aspect of just like going back to okay, let's just talk about remember that show Hoarders? Okay, so these people would hoard a lot of junk, okay, and then people would come in and they would clean up shop and it'd be part of the show, and they'd be like, all right, you know, good job, we cleaned up the house, took us all weekend. Well, that didn't actually teach them anything. You know, there's some habits that they have to learn how to do also too as well. And even the show actually offers some counseling too as well, you know, to try to help these habits. And that's what we try to do. We're trying to help people with these habits, because what's going to happen 6 months down the line, 4 months down the line, well, your house is going to get messy again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny and weird at the same time where someone says, so you mean I'm going to have to just clean my house for the rest of my life? And you're like, well, yeah, of course, you're going to have to maintain it. If you want it to continue to look good, you're going to have to maintain it. Whenever this talks about cutting grass or doing the dishes, you know, they're like, so you're telling me I got to cut the grass all my life. So it's kind of like what people say, so you mean I'm going to have to diet all my life?
Yeah, people think it's a one and done.
They do. They think it's a one and done. But I mean, when it comes to cutting your grass, keeping your house clean, budgeting yourself, yes, you're going to have to budget your money all your life, okay? Unless you want your money to start going out of whack.
You don't have to, but what happens?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they need to start realizing that they're going to have to treat their fitness, their health, and let's just say their body fat range in a healthy level. No one's telling them to be, you know, super lean or ripped up, but to stay within medical health range. That yes, you're going to have to keep somewhat of a budget the rest of your life. And it's okay. We're not asking you to do any kind of hard diet. It's just the word diet sounds hard, you know, like, yeah, and it sounds scary. So like, so you mean I'm going to have to do this all my life?
Yeah.
So, and this is also something that we try to tell people where they don't have to count macros, you know, because sometimes people are like, okay, I get this, it's easy, but am I going to have to do this the rest of my life? Well, yes and no. You know, to a certain extent, it's going to be a lot more easier, more intuitive. That's where we have intuitive eating, portion control. But you know, once you've been doing it for a while, just like you've been budgeting for a while, you pretty much know what you can buy and you can't buy.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be a little bit expensive, just like with food, calorically expensive. You also can go back and remember the weeks and months that you actually spent more money than you should have, okay, financially. So you can kind of go back too and look at it like, okay, well, I know that for 5 weeks, I haven't been counting, but I also know that I've been eating more. Just I can tell. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of, hey, let's structure things in the beginning, but after maybe 1-2 years, it just becomes a little bit of second nature. You know,
can even look in the mirror and be able to tell. Okay,
Yeah.
I've done a little bit overdone this more calories this last 2 weeks than I usually do, and monitor that.
Yeah.
That's part of building habits. That's part of building. You know, it's like anything else. Like you're breaking. You know, you build on and you build on it, right? You learn something basic and you build on that. You build on that, and this is the same idea. Is you're building habits. You're building concepts. You're understanding what your body looks like at certain where you like it and where you feel like it's getting a little bit out of where you like it.
Yeah.
And you make adjustments. It's adjustments, and we're talking about being flexible. Cutting back on certain things for a couple of weeks, getting back to where you are. You don't have to use a scale at some point because you'll be able to just see.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see the differences. And
Can I ask all three of y'all the same question? Because I think this would be good for the audience.
only if we can answer at the exact same time.
Should I join then?
Yeah, you go over there.
Sit right in between them?
on the laps.
we want to ask you guys some things too, so we can switch.
All right, sounds good.
I think to make the distinction and to kind of further and strengthen the point and strengthen the emphasis and the core reasoning behind flexible dieting, can all three of y'all explain y'all's, because you're a professional bodybuilder, you're a trainer. I want you to explain why you do flexible dieting, and I want you to explain why you do flexible dieting from a B-boy's perspective and then from your perspective. So I think it'd be great to hear each individual perspective of why y'all do it, what y'all's goal with it, and that would kind of strengthen that
I'll go
whole
first.
point, you know?
Well, first of all, I think for me, you know, B-boys, or just breaking in general, just being a physically demanding dancer, I think that as you get older, things become a little bit tougher, and you have to find a little bit more organization to try to maintain a much more fit or healthier lifestyle. And so it's easy when you're young. You can kind of do whatever, eat whatever, and go about whatever. But as you can start to get a little bit older, those things start to shift and change a little bit. So I remember specifically being 28, 29 years old, and things started to shift for me. So I was like, man, I need to do something. So that's when I met Rob, and then Rob started introducing me to paleo, and that's when I kind of started kicking off the thing. But when I went to Flex and I got introduced to macros, I'm like, whoa, this thing is cool. It's easy. I could eat whatever. I just got to stay within this little parameter, or this little frame right here, and then it works for me because I travel all the time. I don't have to worry about like what I can't and what I can't eat, what I can or what I can't eat, and I don't want to be that jerk that all of a sudden be like, no, I don't eat there. I can go eat. Just pick a spot. I'll make it work because you're like you said, you're intuitive, and you can figure it out if you've been doing it for a while. So for me, it's helped me a lot that way, where I don't have to complain about what I eat and where I'm eating or what time I'm eating. As long as I stay in with this little budget that I'm given, that works for me. And not to sell it or anything, but it's been the best thing for me. I've seen the best results.
Breaking wise.
Breaking wise and just physically. Aesthetically, like everything. I've seen the best and biggest results a lot quicker by staying within these numbers or this budget. And so for me, it's helped me a lot because I knew at one point, you don't think that you're heavier, but after you look at pictures from then to now, then you're like, what the? You guys make fun, and you're like, oh, yeah, where's Fat Moy? I miss Fat Moy. But that's the truth, though. Like you don't realize you don't realize the difference. And I used to like, it used to trip me out when people would post like pictures with their shirts off and stuff like that. But then at a point you get proud. You're like, dang, I went from this to that, and so like now it makes sense. So when I see people post that or you guys post, I'm like, wow, man, like congrats. It's like, because the road. Yeah, it's a lot to get there, but for me, it's helped me a lot physically and even mentally because, like I said, if we're traveling and hitting the road a lot, you don't have to battle with, oh man, I need to try to find this because I need to eat this only, And I've been around those people. I've been around those people that are following those diets, and I'm like, dude, stop being annoying. Go somewhere else. And I just, like, seriously, I just didn't want to be that person. And I think this fit well for my entire lifestyle because, I'm on the go. And I think that flexible dieting is an on-the-go lifestyle. And it's really like what Eric said. If you have to stop at a convenience store, it's there. It's that simple. And you don't have to worry about whether you're eating past 8. Sometimes I eat at midnight. And it doesn't change anything in the morning.
And then specifically, I think a lot of b-boys, b-girls out there want to hear, like, that's why I asked that. You answered it great, but specifically for, like, you believe it aids your breaking, like it makes you a better b-boy. Oh, definitely. I'm 35. I'll be 36 years old this year. I'm still moving fast as hell. Because, to get even more specific, I'm sure you've heard this before, and we talked about this before. Some people might be like, "Why is he in the gym? What is the lifting weights gonna do for your breaking? Like, what? You know what I mean? Something like that." He used
to say that.
I used to say that. I remember Rob would invite me to Eric's gym, and I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready because it was that, and it was also because I have a very addictive personality, and also like I believe in people, and so if Eric was going to devote his time and energy to me, I didn't want to let him down. I wanted to make sure that I was accomplishing, his goals as well as mine at the same time, and so that was another thing. But that was something I battled with for a long time because you hear all these stories. Oh, it's going to make you big and all this stuff, and until Eric told me, man,
you'll be flexible, all that.
But as long as you stretch and as long as you're physically active within your breaking, nothing much changes. You only get stronger and you only get faster, especially if you're in a deficit and you're losing weight. You're lean. I've gotten down to my high school weight, and I hadn't even been there in a long time. And these guys helped me get there really fast. But that's why even now a lot of people tag me in clips and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing the B-boy more drills or I'm doing this," but in reality, that's just a piece of it. Like I'm living this lifestyle. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm in the gym every morning. If I'm in town, I'm at Flex in the morning. I just got tired of posting it on my Instagram all the time. But I'm there all the time, and for me, it's benefited my breaking lifestyle and just my day, my whole overall day. It just feels so much better that I can wake up and go to the gym, feel good, eat good, and still go about my business and still have the whole day ahead of me.
Perfect. We go to Rob.
If you didn't post, it didn't happen. Just
that's what I'm saying. Test me.
So Mine's a little different. And by the way, I want to make a quick correction. I'm not a licensed psychologist. I'm a licensed professional counselor, but I have a master's in psychology and I teach.
There you go. Same thing.
So it's not the same thing. You get in trouble for that. I'm not saying I'm a psychologist. But when I first started with Eric, what really got me interested not only was the results, right? The results were happening. Within a month, I'd lost like 8 pounds, and I had been plateaued at 178 for like 2 years. It felt like when I was prior to that. So in a month, I had lost 8 pounds, and it was just amazing to me. So that alongside, so seeing results, of course, but then also I was lucky enough to be his workout partner for 9 months prior to a show that he was going to do. So I learned tons of that. I have a funny story about that, but I'll share that in a second. But I was there. I learned tons. And what really got me going was the evidence-based piece, because I love science, and I love learning about what's been proven. And
Data.
Data. I love information like that. I can read that all the time. And he was just he was into it as well. So he was reading about it all the time, and he would, during our workouts, we would talk about stuff like that. What he learned, what he picked up, and it was really like it built my knowledge base. And if you don't, in anything, if you feel like you know everything, then you're going to stop.
Yeah.
You're going to get stagnant. So I was hungry, and I was continuing to learn. And so, I mean, it was the macros per se because I was seeing results, right? But it was more about the science behind it that I really wanted, that was feeding my brain.
Well, it's also great because, like, when somebody asks a question, the data's there. Like,
the data's there.
It's there.
That's right. I mean,
You don't even need to argue.
Give them a resource.
Yeah.
If they don't want to read it, if they don't believe it, that's fine. That's on them.
Yeah.
That's what the science says at that point in time.
Although
Now,
some people
science
still
is
don't
fluid,
take
right?
facts. Some people don't.
Science is fluid, so it
Side note.
changes, right? And so we try to stay on top of those things. But that to me was
the big kicker for you.
The hook.
Yeah.
Right. Funny story is that when we were training together, I would spot him sometimes, and it was a really hot gym, right?
Ooh.
We didn't have any air conditioning at the time, and so I was
Can
spotting
we
him.
dim the lights real quick?
I was spotting him, and he was doing a decline bench.
Oh,
right?
my
Okay.
God.
What'd you call him?
He was doing a decline bench, and so he's down here like this, and I'm over him, right? And just a little bit of sweat, just a little drop, falls right. Well, did you actually did it go in your mouth?
I don't remember.
He's like, I don't want to talk about
I
it.
think that may have been the last time I trained with him. It was like totally grossed him out.
I got really mad.
He got really, really mad.
I think I was a tie.
Because he was actually like,
Were you on low carbs?
well, he was at the end of his diet.
Yeah,
He was
so
towards his show.
he was
So
low on
already,
energy. He
like,
was low
in a
on
bad
energy.
mood. And
It was really hot. It was a hot summer.
Yeah, it was
the most
a really
hilarious
hot.
thing ever. I felt horrible because I was constantly trying to clean myself up because I know we sweat, but it just the timing and the
It was
angle,
perfect, like
it was
magical.
Perfect.
the
Like
perfect
a magical
storm, right?
moment.
You're a
So
decline.
anyway,
You're a
man.
decline.
I think that's my.
You're a decline bitch for that.
I think that's what you
man.
call it.
Yeah.
But but I think it's really the science that really draws me, and being like I said, that's my field of interest. My field of interest is psychology, and it is science based too. And so we really value that. We validity. We value reliable studies. We value having anecdotal data, which is somebody's personal story. I'll get that a lot in my class. It's like, well, when I did it, this and that. That's it's anecdotal. It's
I want
not
to say
based on
one
science.
more thing about like my piece and not my.
What about it?
About what I was saying.
We've gone down
About what I was saying. Okay, we're going
We've
down.
now entered the
But
part of
no,
the
no,
show
listen,
entitled,
listen,
"How
because you
big is it?"
you said you said
Someone
yours
stop.
was the science. For me, it was the flexibility because, and I think it relates to breaking where it's like it's freestyle based.
Yeah.
I feel like macros are very freestyle based.
Yes,
there's
exactly.
It's organized freestyle, right?
Exactly.
And we talk about this all the time.
It's funny that you said that because I was just about to draw the metaphor and be like, flexible
see.
dieting is like the hip hop of dieting.
Yeah, it's the hip hop of dieting, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that it's very freestyle based.
Universal, accepting
And so
it.
that's another reason why I'm drawn to it, because my life is flexible. My life is this lifestyle, and they run right next to each
Same.
other, you know?
I mean, when we came from very rigid
Mhm.
eating, right? Both of us. did.
Mhm.
Most people do.
Yeah, most people do.
Most
and
people
so
Man, we doing
we
paleo
weren't
for a year.
We weren't anything special.
We did paleo for a year.
But when he gave me carbs to eat, and he gave me 200 carbs to eat,
Tasted good.
I was just like, what am I going to do?
I'm on 250 right now.
I have
and
no
feel-
idea. That was my first numbers were 200, and I just had no idea what to do with them. And but yeah,
You
absolutely.
really didn't. I mean, you message
what do
me
I
all the
eat?
time. I'm like, really, do 200?
2-3 years down the road, though, Rob was like, "Bro, I got these pies. There's these
Yeah.
pies." Remember you would tell me?
Okay, so I think that's another thing that I pride myself on
Food.
is finding like these.
But you're a
obscure
foodie.
feuds.
You're a foodie.
Yeah,
You're a foodie.
finding obscure foods that have really good numbers.
Feuds
Really-
too.
Feuds as well.
Feuds are
I'm
good.
very feudal.
Oh, shit.
Finding these finding these foods that.
Welcome to another episode of Family Feud.
So
Hey, shout out to our chat. Shout out to Michelle Rivera.
anything? Okay,
Yes.
so
How do I deal with things I don't like while I work out, and therefore what things I can do to work out better?
that's a
That's our loyal listener
So,
from Brazil.
that's a
our
pretty
loyal-
complex
don't,
question.
Yeah, don't say
or-
anything bad about
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot to that. How
I'm
about
21. No,
21?
the first question. I'm 21. Shall I eat well and work out when I get to 30, or do it right now?
Eat well meaning eat a lot. Or
I think
eat-
he's speaking on what we're all talking.
Eat
what we-
healthy?
He's
Yeah,
been
he's
tuning in
from
the whole
Brazil,
episode.
so-
He's tuned in the whole episode. So I think he's basically asking, do y'all recommend for him to? Because we were talking about you started when you were older.
Yeah.
You know, or you talked about as a
Well,
b-boy. I
that's
think
just-
he's a b-boy.
That's just when
he's
we
speaking from a
learn.
perspective of
Yeah.
like.
If we had learned this earlier, we would have.
Yeah,
done it.
I would say.
So to answer that question,
start now.
Start now.
Start now.
Yeah, start now.
And when you talk about eating well, healthy doesn't necessarily mean diet or a weight loss food. There's always that distinction, right? Avocado is healthy, but is it weight loss food?
Yeah.
I would say no because
It's a good fat.
It's a good fat. Well, see, don't start that. That's yeah.
Zeke, shout out Zeke. Can y'all
There's
just
no
give
good or
me?
bad fats.
Can y'all just give me a pill to lose 100 pounds?
You know, I believe that with all the advances in technology and everything, I think the only thing that's going to be a real game changer is going to be the pill that they develop one day. That's going to be the game changer.
Yeah.
Everyone, you know, everyone thinks that there's a lot of like, man, what's this? So when they talk about a new diet, people sell them so well. People sell people so well on a method of a new diet that they feel like it is a pill to lose 100 pounds. But in all honesty, I think that the
We should
real
create it.
Mhm.
The macro pill.
Mhm.
I'm not a chemist.
Where you just get like your macros. You get your carbs, protein, and fat in this
All in
one
a
little
pill?
pill.
Yeah.
And we break it down
We
into
just-
3.
You know, we joke about that right now, but you know, 15,
gonna
20
happen.
years, they might really develop a pill that'll really take care
They'll
of
watch
it.
this podcast and say, that's a great idea.
Yeah. But I really believe that that's going to be the end all right there. Is whenever they have the
battle.
pill that we can.
We will have
That's
no
the
more-
final battle right there.
We will
Oh, yeah.
not be.
So you know, on the obesity side, they're like, yes, you know, now we saved obesity for us. For us people like us fatty by nature, we'd be like, hell yeah, we get to eat whatever we want now. We're just gonna go crazy on it. But yeah, that would be funny. But no, we don't have that right now. As we speak, Zeke.
That we know of, right?
Yeah.
The yo-yo effect, lose and gain 100%, and what's the empire?
Yeah, I think that I was talking about at that point. I was talking about how, or we were talking about sustainability, right?
Mhm.
On how people, it's easy to lose weight, but then, okay, I can stop running now because I've lost all the weight that I want, and you gain it back plus usually, and then some.
You know what? I do want to say because you guys did skip me on the flexible dieting.
didn't
What
skip
it
you.
is.
Yeah, we did.
We
We
just
just
started
weren't
talking
there
about
yet.
something else, and
Yeah.
you didn't,
I was
you didn't
about to
take the
say-
initiative to continue.
We didn't skip you. We just started talking about something else.
Your turn,
Okay, so because
Hey,
because it's real funny and important because you know last time I was here in the questions y'all asked me, I spoke more of the trainer on how I would help other people, but now what it actually means to me, you know, flexibility is, man, I'm a cowboy.
We
you
have
know,
to cut back and come back after a commercial break.
You're a cowboy.
Yeah, I'm a cowboy in the entire industry, if you ask me. As far as I'm not a slave to any kind of one style of dieting. I can eat whatever I want, even in bodybuilding. So now we're talking about bodybuilding. Anytime anybody thinks of bodybuilding, they think of everything is hardcore. We have to eat our own special bodybuilding food. We have to be on our specific.
You're gonna carry the containers around with you.
Yeah, you have to carry the 1 gallon, water. That's how you know you're hardcore. But with me, I still eat.
Shout out to all the bros.
Yeah, I still eat whatever I want. I drink, 3 times a week. Still.
Drink alcohol.
Yes, alcohol, and I'm probably the most unhardcore person, bodybuilder that's out there. But at the same time, I'm very successful with it. I actually get to where I need to get as far as my body fat percentage, way more than I would probably imagine anybody that I know. I get ready way more in advance, and people always want to know how am I doing this, like what kind of secret foods are I'm eating, whatever. But I mean, like if we wanted to go out tonight and eat, I'm gonna be honest, we could probably do whatever. I'm just gonna eyeball a little bit. And for some bodybuilders out there, I mean, that's an insane thing to even think
only
about.
because you're, 7 weeks out, 8 weeks out?
Probably about 10.
10 weeks out.
From
A bodybuilding
people that
show. Yeah, from a
So he's
bodybuilder.
actually dieting down.
Mhm.
So that's why he would actually eyeball it. But otherwise,
Yeah, and I can actually probably do a bodybuilding show in about maybe like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. And to some people, that's insane. They're like, no, I wouldn't be drinking. Like I would be counting everything religiously. But I mean, if you're going to be in this as long as I am, and if you want to be in this for the rest of your life, you have to be supplementing these things with what's going to
I
complement.
use that
and
very
keep you in the
similar
game.
to like breaking. A lot of people, especially if there's a big competition and we're out for this big competition during the weekend, whether it's LA, Philadelphia, or somewhere. People see me kind of eating whatever. You're gonna eat that before you battle, like
Or
people,
work out the morning of.
or work out the morning of.
Or
You're like,
getting
you're gonna
drunk.
do that, and I'm like, yeah, like or getting drunk, crystal meth, heroin. But
Are you crazy with that?
yeah, sometimes. But the thing is like I get these questions, but it's almost like I'm ready. Like I just stay ready. This is something I do every day. So it's not necessarily that I'm preparing for this battle.
Right.
This is just my daily routine. If I can get up and go compete, I can go compete if I want. But if I don't want to, I don't want to. So I know it's a little bit different in terms of
Same
bodybuilding,
approach.
but
Same approach.
the approach is the same.
Yeah, and when you think of weightlifting and bodybuilding, and being in it for the long haul, throughout the rest of my life, it's not so much that I want when I'm older that I want to get down to 0% looking body fat.
You die.
Yeah,
You would
but I would like to stay in a leaner way and always be able to practice calorie budgeting, macro budgeting. Jackie Chan. They had asked Jackie Chan whenever he was. I believe they asked him when he was 65, and they asked him like, do you still train? And he says, I train every single day. I train every single day. I don't see a reason. And if you actually broke it down, there would be a reason why. There would be no reason why he would stop training. Now he's not training for an actual professional fight, just like I'm not going to be dieting for a bodybuilding show. But there's no reason why you shouldn't be, and that goes back to budgeting the rest of your life and just trying to keep a good eye. But like you're saying, breakdancing for as long as you've been breakdancing, and as the years go by, you're not going to stop breakdancing. Maybe at some point you're going to stop competing breakdancing, but there would be never a real reason why you stop training.
Yeah.
You stop training. That's when things, in my opinion, start going wrong with you, and you start stiffening up and everything like that. So it's something that you can do sustainably.
What is
till
that?
forever.
What is that saying that we don't get old because we stop? We stop
because
we get old or something
Yeah,
like that, right?
We
stop. Yeah, we stop because we. I don't know how he says
stop
it.
and we
I
won't
can't even say it.
Bad boys for life.
we don't stop because we get old. We get old because we stop.
There you go. That's it. Thank you.
That's why you're here, Rob.
Well, and I think it goes back to the black and white thing, right? I mean, I think that this is flexible dieting is like the gray. It's like you're fluid, right?
Mhm.
You're liquid, or what does Bruce Lee say? Be like water,
Yeah.
right? This is like that.
Yeah.
It's you move with.
Can we be
with
like
the
Monster?
environment.
Yeah.
You're like
like
Monster
Monster.
water.
Yeah.
How about the water?
Be like Monster, 99%
Monster
water.
Well, thanks for you eventually providing yours after all that time. Thanks for taking the initiative.
Yep.
But I think that's good, man, because it encompasses, and if we had, say, 10 other people from your gym here and we had the time to hear those 10 different stories, it would be 10 different stories.
Maybe we need to do that. Maybe
Yeah.
we need to do a
But
flex level
to make my
fitness
point, it would be 10
podcast.
different stories, but all would be under that same approach and have that same core reasoning and same able to attest that it works. And that's that I think wraps everything up, and that's why flexible dying is the way it is. You
Well,
can hear 10 different
MVP,
stories,
did you
but
get that picture?
Well, you think about this too.
that picture
Try
when
being
you-
in
I
a
emailed you?
relationship, and try being in a relationship and having to be that guy or that girl that has
Can
to
I
always
bring-
be like, well, where do you want to go? You want to go to the movies? Well, I can't do that. Or can I bring my food?
No.
Can I bring my bag of food? Or I'm on a diet. Or that's wherever it really starts going wrong.
been
Whenever
doing
you're
it
on
lately,
like a certain style of dieting,
been
like,
doing it lately,
well, don't you know that I'm on paleo?
Mm.
Or don't you know that I'm on a carnivore or vegan? Are we going to be able to? Are they going to be able to accommodate my needs? Or we can't go to this restaurant, we can't go to that restaurant. Those relationships usually don't last very long. Okay, some people are like, well, you should
I remember
be
when
with
I was on
somebody who's gonna.
paleo, and shout out to my wife Kelly. She's
Oh, I see, here
Vietnamese,
we
and
go.
I went over
Yeah.
to it was like the first month I went over to her mother's house to get her delicious cooking, and she said, "You want a bowl of rice?" And I said no. And she pulled Kelly to the side and said, "Kelly, let me talk to you real quick."
No problem with your husband.
Yeah, what the hell is wrong with it?
Oh man.
Hey,
So, yeah.
you remember when we were on paleo and then we had the vending machine next door?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want something. And I was like, I got a Reese's. And you're like, oh, you're gonna cheat? You're gonna get that Reese's? I said, I'm gonna get this Reese's and I'll still smoke your ass.
No, I don't remember that.
And he did.
I don't remember that at all. Actually.
Woo! That was a good one.
No.
Anyways,
Let me
MVP.
address this one question. It says,
Okay.
shall I work out every day, single day, or shall I work out 4 days a week and get some rest? And Eric, you can jump in on this, but my
One-
feeling is that you want to work out work out as many times as you can. That's going to be sustainable weekly. So if you can only work out 3 times a week, don't try to do, don't try to do 5. Just do 3. Do 3. Stay within your budget of being able to work out. Rest. I work out every day, pretty much. And so what I'll do is I'll do different body parts to get some rest on that particular body part. But I still work out every day, so it's not a full body.
I think some people just get they get it confused when we say we work out all the time or work out confused. They think that it's
You
like
work out
super
every-
extreme for like 2 or 3 hours and
Right.
you kill yourself. But it's not that extreme. It's a good workout.
Right.
It's a good workout.
What's the Eric? What's the
Um,
window? Like
again, these days I'm more flexible with adherence, and as long as you're going to be able to adhere to it, and it's going to be fun and enjoyable for you. I mean, my workout partner, she works out 3 days out of the week. Okay, I duplicate that. I do everything that me and her do twice a week, so that's 6 days a week. Rob works out every day. Okay. Now, Rob does not completely trash the muscle to the point where his body's breaking down. He's lethargic. He's getting, his
dizzy.
body's not. Yeah.
Well, dizzy sometimes, but not.
So depending on how you're working out, but as long as it's fun, I mean, if it's fun and you like what you're doing and eventually you want to start being like, okay, I want to get some good progress, and you want to start putting it on paper, then you can. Yeah. What did I do?
What happened? Did I do something? It's a
moist.
memory.
Oh, let's go.
Woo! So
Put it
in the
out
beginning of the show, we were talking about
Oh no.
Cuddly Rob. We were talking about Cuddly Rob, and dude, you got to be proud of yourself.
Oh, no.
You don't have to say your
I
age.
put them out myself.
You don't have to
so-
say your age, but dude, you freaking look amazing for your age. 79, right?
While you're saying that,
You can say my age.
Why are you trying to you're buttering me up for this picture that's
Well,
coming.
Yeah.
because this is cute, Cuddly Rob.
The Rob
This
that
is-
I know.
This is Professor Rob. Can we
One that
put up
y'all
that
missed.
picture really
That
quick,
you missed.
MVP?
All right, next.
Yes, look at that. Cuddly
Oh,
Rob.
man, they did you
That's
like
like,
that.
Oh man.
Oh
This is
man.
beautiful.
That's
This
a
is
Rob
great.
that I know.
MVP, you set that up
Jeez.
beautifully.
You got that John.
Give it up for
Bean.
MVP, yo.
Look at that, side by side.
Side by side.
Do it one more time.
comparison.
Go one more time. One more time.
Can we go
Look
back
how
there?
quick.
Let me get
Look
close.
how quick
Back
he can
in real quick.
cut. Look how quick he can cut.
Wait, where are you going?
No, there it is.
Just smile. Smile.
Man. Even the beard looks so much better. Eric, man.
Hey,
Shout out to
if you
Rob.
talk to Cuddly Rob, tell him I said what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to him every night, every day.
Cuddly Rob. He's somewhere in there.
He's there.
He's hanging
He's
with Fat.
somewhere.
He's
You
hanging
better
out
be
with
careful,
Fat.
he might
He's
eat
hanging out with
you.
Fat Moy somewhere.
He's hanging around with Fat Moy.
We're at
Taqueria del Sol
Eating paleo.
Eating-
Nah,
eating
on Park
torta.
Place. 45 plug. I love
Shout out
at,
Danny.
at I love Del Sol.
that's right.
But yo, thank you guys for coming on and sharing some
I feel like we
amazing
barely talked.
and
So,
valuable
in
information.
summary-
Oh, we can bring you back.
In
We can bring
summary,
you back.
sugar's bad, right? That's what we got from this episode,
Oh, see, putting out those.
right?
Don't-
That's what we, right?
don't end
Good
the
fats,
show
bad
like
fats.
that.
That's why they should drink Monster Energy. Zero calories, zero sugar, zero
Shout out
everything.
to our sponsors.
Monster Energy,
Sugar's
zero
not
ultra.
bad.
Well, let's wrap this
Carbs
up,
aren't
and
bad.
we always like to ask. We'll put this in
No food's
perspective
bad.
of what we were talking about this episode of health. What is something y'all can give like a parting message, condensed elevator pitch to somebody who's looking to lose weight or kickstart a healthy lifestyle? One at a time.
Hold on, real quick. Shout out to DJ Vinzel. He says almost to 1K, baby. We're one person away from
Ah.
1,000 subscribers.
That's the real macro.
Oh, we haven't even
right there.
subscribed to y'all yet. I'm
Well,
messing with you.
speaking
Your,
of-
your heart went in your
I-
throat for a second.
I kind of
Oh,
believe
wait,
Does
that.
Eric follow? Does Jeremy follow you on Instagram?
Of course he does.
Yeah,
Of course he does. Wow, I got a new follower today.
Of course I follow
Did
him.
you?
Jeremy started.
Oh yeah, he unfollowed everybody and then followed everybody.
See,
Except for me.
I do remember when that happened.
Yeah.
see.
But when did everybody get back?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
told- I
long
missed-
time ago.
I told you
Long time ago.
I missed some very important
Yeah,
people
you
along
missed-
the way. That's it.
Yeah.
I should have counted my macros.
You got to remember, he fell
See.
25 feet from.
This was before.
Yeah, I hit my
That's
head.
true. I believe it.
See, the real
I'm
macro,
just trying to defend him, and I
the
can't. You
real
lost.
macronutrient that matters is your follower count. That's it.
So what would you say?
It's not as hard as you think.
That's
It's
what
not
she
as hard as
said.
you think. I think that to lose weight, it's not as hard as you think. To keep it off is probably harder than you think.
Mm.
And, just be ready for that. But get somebody that knows what they're talking about, somebody that is patient with it and has the science behind it.
That was
I can dig
deep.
it.
That was
I
great.
can
That
dig
was
it.
real deep.
That's what she said. So what did you say?
What did she say?
Yeah.
Is Kelly? What she said?
Oh man, I would say do something that's enjoyable. Don't ever follow anybody's religion on what they try to preach to you as far as styles of food. Stay in it for a long game. Try to get your mind wrapped around that this is going to be a lifestyle change. You know, everyone always says lifestyle change, and it sounds so annoying to me. But if they truly meant it in the way that I've told y'all guys, like the lifestyle change and everything, I think it would mentally put them in a better position to be successful with long-term weight loss or lifting weights.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He raised-
Be aware of the zealots. The people that scream the loudest about something isn't always the most accurate information. you're gonna
I like that.
Sounds like
What?
a meme post.
What'd you say?
get.
What'd you say?
Eric, Jeremy's often loud in his posts.
Loud noises.
Yeah, it's
Lamp.
happens.
Remember we had to piss that kidney stone?
Y'all did it at the same time?
Yeah.
We
held
do
we
what?
did
I
it at
held
the
it.
same time.
I held it. Why you did?
You both had that?
No, remember when he had the kidney stones?
Oh.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, dude, I was like 25.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
It was a long time
That
ago.
was recent.
Like, how long ago was that?
10 years ago. Anyways,
Thank you guys.
thank you for
Informative as
being
always.
amazing.
I want
Funny
to
as
Wonderful.
If I get invited, I want to talk about how I got to know you guys and how I met you guys.
Well,
That's the next
we're gonna
episode.
we'll bring you guys back.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Well, he doesn't have to.
You guys live in the same city as us.
We do. We are from Houston, Texas. But we would
He's-
fly here if we
he's-
weren't.
So next
He
time,
sees me every
okay.
day.
How about this? Next time we bring you guys back, y'all sit in these seats and we sit over there.
We're gonna arrange that.
We're gonna see how much y'all can do under that pressure.
Yeah.
I can
Y'all
do fine.
good?
I can do fine.
Where can they
Okay.
find y'all social media wise? People out there.
Hey, hold on, really quick before you announce. Why do you keep switching your?
Just twice.
Your handle? That's why I didn't follow you. I couldn't find
Yeah,
you.
because I want to be. I think I'm. I don't want to get into it.
At Rob
No,
underscore underscore
It's
T.
Rob.
How many underscores?
Rob underscore underscore T underscore. Because all the underscore was taken.
Rob T Fitness. Why don't you do that or something?
Yeah.
There was still an underscore.
I like Rob Trevi.
Professor Rob T.
Oh man.
I like Professor Rob T.
Oh man.
That's
P.
probably
Rob T.
taken.
Macro Rob.
Probably taken.
Macro Rob's probably taken too.
Yeah. Rap Crow. Rob Crow.
We're gonna work on your.
I'm simple.
We're gonna work on your
I
handle.
was thinking about
Rob
changing
T.
mine to who is Eric Lee.
Ooh, I like that. Getting a little introspective.
I like yours though.
That's
Eric Lee Salazar. It's
We all
very
wanna know who
professional.
he is.
Yeah, it is.
It's very
A
professional.
business
I
card.
was like, who
Rob
is Eric
level.
Lee? You know, who is he?
Eric Lee Salazar.
Yeah.
I like who.
What
is-
follow me. Follow
I got
me,
a
you'll
better.
know.
I got a better. What about Rob Bless You?
Rob bless
What about
you.
Rob Damn?
I like Rob bless
Rob
you.
Damn it.
I like Rob Bless You.
I like Rob bless you.
All right, we're gonna work on these
Or
names.
let Rob Bless You.
We're gonna work on these names, but in the meantime, y'all follow them
Yeah.
at the handles. Thank you guys
At
for
Rob
joining us.
underscore underscore
Flex
T
Level
underscore
Fitness.
underscore humpback humpback. I crooked letter I underscore underscore I.
And we hang out
Anyways,
with you guys. We hang
episode
out with
25,
them.
Break Free Worldwide Podcast.
Every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank
Shout
you
out
guys
to Monster
for coming.
Energy, Houston Media Source, and
Shout
all our
out to Muscle
sponsors and
Monster.
everybody tuning in and watching.
Oh,
Appreciate you
Ali
guys.
said something about our beards. Ali, shout
Beard
out.
Gang.
She says that you guys are her
Her favorite
favorite bearded dudes. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking
What
about.
about my mustache?
And she said that you guys are most talented. So she trying to say that we're not talented?
Mm.
That's
Probably.
not cool.
What about
Yeah.
my mustache from y'all, from bearded guys?
No.
What do y'all about my mustache?
No.
Ah,
Really?
See y'all next week. Thank
See ya
y'all.
next week.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
Have you ever wanted to have your own TV show? We can make that happen at Houston Media Source. When you walk in the door, all you need is an idea. We have everything you need. Studios, cameras, lights, microphones, and more. All professional quality and state-of-the-art. Get started by attending one of our free orientation sessions every Monday at 6 p.m. at our studios at 410 Roberts near Minute Maid Park. Get more information online at hmstv.org. Make your voice heard with Houston Media Source.